Okay, today we are drawing a multi-view drawing, also referred to as an orthographic projection. Okay, so first I'm going to start by taping my paper down to my desk. I'm using a low-tack tape. You can also buy drafting dots. The idea with the low-tack tape is you're not going to leave a residue behind or tear your paper when you go to remove the tape. And you want to tape your paper down so you keep it in the exact same location throughout the entire drawing process. I'm going to start by doing a 1/2 inch border around the top, sides, and then along the bottom I'll do a 1 inch border. I'll try my best to make it dark enough so you can see it on camera. You don't have to do a border. It's up to you. But it's fairly standard practice to have a border. This is a drafting, like a dry erase bag. Not for erasing things so much, but I sprinkle some of that eraser dust onto my drawing, and it helps keep the paper clean and helps your tools kind of glide smoothly across the top of the paper. So we're going to be drawing a multi-view drawing of a table today, and up here in the upper right corner I'm going to quickly draw like an isometric view or a 3D view of the table that we're going to be drawing today. And so in a multi-view drawing, we're going to draw the front view, side view, top view, and bottom view. And then later on in the video, we will add some dimension lines and some notes to our drawing. And I apologize if it's a little bit grainy on the video quality right here. And sorry for getting my big head in the way. So as far as tools, I'm using a regular number 2 pencil. I got a pink eraser over to the left-hand side of the screen. This is just a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of copy paper, but you can also use vellum, although vellum is more expensive. Just using a basic T-square, and this is a 30-60 90-degree triangle. You can buy drafting tools, usually at your local art supply store, office supply store, or online, like Amazon or eBay. And drawing by hand is a simple, inexpensive way to draw up plans if you need to build something in your shop, either at work or at home. You got a custom project and you don't want to learn an AutoCAD program or don't have the money and time to do so, or maybe this is a one-time drawing. Manual drafting like this, drawing by hand, is a great option to consider. And you see me using a non-bleed fine line marker here. You want to make sure you buy the non-bleed for obvious reasons. You don't want the ink to bleed through your paper and make a mess. And usually I do the inking at the very end of the drawing, but in this case, since we're doing a tutorial, I want to ink it now so it shows up better on screen for you. And you don't have to buy an expensive drafting table to do this. Like this paper right now is taped down to my coffee table in my living room. So you can tape your paper to a smooth, flat surface that has a nice square edge for your T-square to run up and down on. That's crucial. That is important, because if your tabletop is rough or uneven, or the edge is rough or uneven, that will affect the quality of your drawing. And I recommend using a brush to brush away your eraser shavings. That way you don't smudge or smear your paper. And here too, I'm going to go ahead and ink the border so it shows up better on camera. Then we'll proceed with doing the multi-view drawing, also referred to as an orthographic drawing. And then I can use the little 3D model that I drew up here to give me my dimensions for my orthographic projection that I'm going to do for the table. So again, top view, bottom view, front view, side view. And then you want to draw lightly with your pencil. You don't want to push down too hard. That way it makes it easier to erase your lines. And when I do this orthographic projection, you can see I started with the front view on the top of the drawing, and then I simply drew lines all the way down. That way everything lines up. So the edge of the table, the legs, the thickness of everything is exactly the same for each viewpoint. And then I don't have to measure every single time because I'm simply transferring those measurements to each viewpoint. I hope that makes sense. Okay, now that we got our front view, top view, and bottom view drawn, up to the left side of our front view, I'm going to draw the side view of the table. Let me know in the comments, have you tried manual drafting or drafting of any kind? Do you enjoy drafting and drawing? What kind of projects have you drawn up and created for work or for personal projects? If you don't mind sharing in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Now that we have all of our different viewpoints drawn in pencil, we can go ahead and ink all these different viewpoints so they show up better on camera. And once you ink the drawing, you can leave it as is and work from this drawing. Or what I'm going to do is scan it into the computer and add computerized text and dimension lines and labels just to make it look a little bit cleaner and nicer. But again, you don't have to do that. You can do all of your labeling and dimension lines by hand as well. Okay, now that we have the drawing completed, I went ahead and scanned it into my computer. And you can use just a simple basic painting program or whatever software you have on your computer. And I'm using this white square, you can see, to kind of clean up a few little imperfections in the drawing. Then I'm going to do a square with a black border. That's another way you can do the border. If you don't want to draw it by hand, scan your drawing in the computer and make it the border on the computer. I'm going to do a little title bar or title box down here in the bottom right hand corner with the title of the project, my name, the date, scale. In this case, I'm going to put not to scale. And then after that, we'll go ahead and add our dimension lines, maybe a cut list, and a few notes. So I'll select the text tool. And all my dimensions for this drawing are going to be in inches. And so this is helpful because then it makes it quick and easy to come up with your cut list. You can determine exactly how many pieces of material you'll need and what their lengths are going to be needed to cut to. And in this case, I'm thinking we'll make this little coffee table out of just cheap pine, nothing fancy. And make dimension lines. You can adjust the line thickness or line weight and add arrows to each end. I'm going to add a white square in the middle of this line. And then I'll drop in my text, my actual dimension right there. That's a quick, easy way to do all your dimension lines on your drawing. And the way I'm going to attach the rails to the underside of this table is with some L brackets or corner brackets. You can buy those at your local big box store. We're not going to actually do the build in this video because this video is specifically just for manual drafting, hand drawing tutorial. So I will make a note, however, on this drawing that we're going to use those corner brackets to attach the rails to the underside of the tabletop. First, we'll go ahead and type up a cut list. So, for example, we need 4 legs. What are their dimensions? 2 front, a rear and front rail, 2 side rails. Add their dimensions. Then, of course, the tabletop itself. So that's going to make it a lot quicker and easier because you know exactly how long you need to cut all your pieces of wood. And then over on the other side, we'll do our notes. And that's where you can add things like materials of construction, key notes like, the corner brackets that we're going to use countersink, wood screws, and wood glue on all the joints, that type of stuff. So I hope this little tutorial was helpful for you. And now we'll take a look at the finished drawing. Good to go. I wanted to tell you about this Facilities Maintenance Handbook available in paperback and ebook format on Amazon. The link is in the video description below. It has common facilities documents, signage, stickers, labels, plenty of reference material, resource material as far as like HVAC, electrical symbols, welding symbols, plumbing symbols, and common shop equipment drawings you can use to fabricate your own shop equipment. Again, the link is in the video description below. Or if you need hats, shirts, tumblers, coffee cups, or weatherproof stickers for your facility to label things, there's a link in the video description below for this facilities maintenance shop where you can buy these items. I hope you find them helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and thanks for watching.